The first thing you'll need to do to set up the Google authentication for your Tethys portal is to register the Tethys portal to use the OAuth API. To do so, log in to Google Cloud Console at console.developers.google.com. And if you don't have a Google developer account, go ahead and create one. Then navigate to the API and Services section if you're not brought there automatically by going to the hamburger menu and selecting APIs and Services. Then you'll need to select a project. If you've completed the Google Earth Engine tutorials, then go ahead and select the project associated with your Google Earth Engine service account. For me, it's Earth Engine app. Otherwise, select the default project or create a new one. Before setting up our credentials, let's go to the OAuth consent screen. This is how you configure the consent screen that is presented to the user when they log in with the Google account. It will basically show them information about the app that they're logging into and what information you're requesting from their Google account. You've probably seen many of these. I've already populated mine with some information, Tethys portal, and some other things. Let's go ahead and edit it. So you'll want to give it a name. Please don't just call yours Tethys portal, but rebrand your portal to be specific to your organization. But for this example, it's okay to just call it Tethys portal. And then select a file to upload, a logo that represents your portal. Then you'll want to give an email address where they can get support. You could provide your email address or someone or your organization's tech support line or whatever you'd like. Probably don't point them to Tethys Platform Google Groups though, because that is for Tethys generally, not for your portal. The next section talks about the scopes or the different bits of information that you'll be requesting from their Google account. Tethys only needs really the email and maybe some of their profile information, so the defaults are fine. And then this information I haven't filled out yet since this isn't a real portal, but you'll need to provide authorized domains and homepage link and at least your privacy policy. You could also provide a terms of service link if you want. And then you'll need to submit it for verification. Before you submit it, your users will see a warning saying that this app hasn't been verified, basically. So this is okay for debugging and developing, testing it out, but you will want to get it verified before doing this on a real system. I haven't made any changes, so I'll go ahead and press cancel, but if you made changes, press save. Next, go to the credentials screen. And again, if you've completed the Google Earth Engine tutorials, then you probably recognize this as where you configured your service account for your Google Earth Engine account. We're interested in this section here though, the OAuth 2 client IDs, and we need to create a new one because we don't have one. So to do so, go ahead and click on the Create Credentials link and OAuth Client ID. Select Web Application as the application type and give it a name. Again, this should be branded to your organization, but for the demo, I'll just call it Tethys Portal. And then we need to provide both authorized JavaScript origins and authorized redirect URIs. And this is where we have to do things a little differently since we don't have a fully qualified domain name for our virtual machine. But essentially what you'd want to do is list the domain name or the public web address of your portal here as one of the JavaScript origins. And if you're supporting HTTP and HTTPS, you'd want to list both. I'm going to go ahead and list a few here. So first, HTTP at the IP address. I'll add another one that's HTTPS. And then I'm going to add one for localhost because we'll be testing on the virtual machine, and you'll see why here in a second, using localhost as our address. And again, I'm doing that for HTTP and HTTPS, and that's because I've configured it to support both. The redirect URIs are similar. These ones, however, will not accept a local IP address. So if I type in my local IP address of my virtual machine, you'll see that it has this error and it won't let me save it. it expects this to be a top-level public domain. However, they do allow localhost so that you can do some testing locally. And that's why we have to list localhost up here, is because we'll have to do this on the virtual machine and reference it using localhost. Let's go ahead and add one for HTTPS as well. And notice this is the pattern for the Google endpoint. The Facebook one will be different but similar. Essentially, after you log in with the Google service, it's going to redirect back to the app using this URL. And this is the URL that Python Social Auth sets up for the Tethys portal. So go ahead and press create. And what you'll want to do is note your client ID and your client secret. We'll need to set this in our Tethys settings so that it is aware and can authenticate with the API. So I've noted those. You can go ahead and press OK.